All right, so let me set you the pretense.
Please.
It's 1960s Japan. You're in the fictional town of Ebisugaoka. You're playing as Hinako, who is this like 15, 16-year-old schoolgirl who is seemingly thrust into this fight for survival against her maybe friends, maybe enemies, while also trying to piece together what the overall arcing horror that's like haunting her is. This is a game that you have to play more than once. I cannot stress this enough. You get one ending on your first go, and that is the mandatory ending. That's just where the story begins. There are 5 endings. The UFO one isn't that. That's like a classic Silent Hill bit is the UFO ending. Where you're abducted by aliens.
The dog was controlling it the whole time.
The whole time. So I'm now on ending 3, which is going for the UFO ending. There are 2 more that I need to get to get the full story. It is a gorgeous game. I think if you were to remove, like I said this in my review, if you remove the monsters from this would be a great walking tour of a rural Japanese town. It is so beautiful. This is a standalone spin-off, so it is not directly connected to previous Silent Hill titles. We're not in the town of Silent Hill.
Probably for the best.
Honestly, probably for the best. Everyone there seems to really have a bad life. But Hinako isn't doing much better. Along the way, you are, in classic Silent Hill fashion, no one explains anything to you, and you will constantly be like walking with a friend who then disappears, and no one asks where that friend went.
Oh my God. When Shu just fucks
Just
off.
up and leaves, and I'm like,
bro, you got the baseball bat. Are you serious?
Yes. There is a bit where a character that you meet reveals that they maybe can't be trusted, and no one asks a clarifying question. And I'm like, I need to kill this person, and I need them to be gone from my life. But no, it is a incredible game. I think there some of the criticism that I have been seeing is like, oh, it's not in Silent Hill anymore. That it's which I think is a silly criticism. Like Silent Hill 4 wasn't in Silent Hill. Silent Hill Short Messages was in Germany. The combat is a little bit clunky at times.
It was called Vispa Mountain.
Silent Hill, I think, from my experience, granted I've only finished like a couple of the games, but I've played just about every one of them now, has had combat that makes me want to die.
Oh, it's never been good. But
It's never been good.
You're supposed to feel hopeless.
Yeah, Hinako, I will say, is one of the strongest Silent Hill protagonists in terms of like, she's got a lead pipe and she ain't afraid to use it.
Nice.
I found it to be quite an easy game in terms of combat. I did play initially on story mode where everything's a little easier to get through. Puzzles on hard mode is really fun. There's a good balance of you can avoid monsters entirely if you feel like it, if you run far enough and kind of break their line of sight. You also have a lot of equivalents called Onamori, which are like little boosts to your combat ability. It narrows enemy line of sight, so you can get into the fog and kind of put some distance between them.
The fog is still there, though.
The fog is 80% of this game. It's trying to be like, what the hell is ahead of me right now?
That was kind of the defining factor of Silent Hill as a development thing, but it's as a carry through into the series. That feels all you need to bring across, like a haunting fog in an eerie location. Like that's
in a way of New York being a character in Friends. I would say Fog is a character in the Silent Hill games.
Absolutely, and that character wants you dead.
Yep.
I will say, if you are like kind of looking for a more direct connection to previous Silent Hill titles, there is a fascinating little detail buried in the greater story of Silent Hill F. That has a fun little connective bit of tissue that links it to the previous games, which I've gotten so into the lore of this one specifically because there's so many, much like other Silent Hill games, it's kind of like a narrative under a narrative. There are so many characters that are referenced or ideas that are kind of like, the game will just throw it out there and then never talk about it again until 10 hours later, and you're like, oh my God, that's that thing from
the best way for things to be shown to you or like to discover them.
But then that's a good thing about having a little handy dandy notebook that tells you all about every character ever.
Dude, Hinako is out here taking notes like an absolute trooper.
Wait, the F stands for fog? That's not
the
it,
F
right?
stands for fog. No. I'm actually not sure what the F stands for in this particular one.
It's the
I
noise
was
you
like,
make
Silent
when you
Hill,
say
you're
something.
fucked. Yeah. There is a really, like, not to get too, I don't want to spoil anything because I do think this is a game that you should play and experience for yourself. It is such a wonderfully hopeless story. Like, it really captures this sense of resignation to fate while also fighting so hard against something you know you cannot beat. And there's like always, there's incredible monster design. There is a lot of, you could mine this for its deeper meaning until the cows come home, and I intend to do such. I found it to be an incredibly compelling game. I don't think I'd try and sit through 5 different endings if I didn't love it.
Well, I was going to ask, how long is a playthrough?
I did my first playthrough in just under 12 hours,
Okay.
but I did
okay.
stumble quite significantly towards the end. My second playthrough, I managed to get done in 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still substantial. It's not a 4-hour game with like.
No.
While I totally get that, obviously the developers have intended that replay in it. Like some games do that because they're like, oh, it's a 4-hour game that's like made to be run 12
No.
times. It is still a substantially, you could finish that game and be
Yeah.
like, that's enough for me, or
You could end this at the very first ending and be like, wow, that was a really heartbreaking experience. And like,
Yeah,
I feel
cool.
like I've had such a phenomenal time with this. I'm satisfied with what I played. But if you want to go deeper, you have that option to
there.
pursue that to a greater extent and learn more about these characters. And what I love about this as well is, there are, as you kind of unlock more endings, there are parts of conversations that you think should have gone in the first one, but you're like, why did they stop talking there? Or something's not being said in that conversation that then gets slot into that position, and you're like, oh my God, that's what he meant.
That's cool. So you are
Yeah.
rewarded for playing again.
Absolutely.
Are all 5 endings available at the start? If you loaded up a new save
Yeah.
and you were like, I know how to get the special ending.
No.
So you do unlock stuff as you
So
complete the game. That's interesting.
from my understanding of how it works, so when you complete your first game, you then unlock a save slot for New Game Plus. You then start New Game Plus, and then you get that ending, and then it's like, start another save slot
Sorry,
for this. And
you
keep
will get
loading
that
it.
second ending playing new game. There's no chance you'll accidentally fall back to the first ending.
It's not about decisions or
You-
things you're
if-
killing or choosing to let live or...
You are making active choices
Yeah.
to do certain things. So
Okay.
you will have some of the advantages you got from your first playthrough, you will get into your second playthrough.
Yeah.
And
And
then
it's-
that'll come through to your third playthrough.
And it's obvious enough how you would utilize that to get the second ending. Not you go, I played it all again and I got the same ending in a frustrating
I-
Is it player knowledge or is it character knowledge that carries across?
It is, you will find new things, like things that
Okay.
were not there before. Like when you start your second, this is like not really a spoiler.
Not even knowledge. It's just that door won't open until you do the
Yes,
second playthrough.
you
kind of
will.
vibes.
Like I started my
Okay.
second playthrough, and there was a house behind Hinako's house that I was like, I can't get in there, but I can still jiggle the doorknob. And then when I got there, the door was open,
In the
and I was
second
like,
playthrough,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
And
cool.
then it leads you down to, oh, there is an item you need to be finding. So keep an eye out for these shrines you can go to.
Gotcha.
And then it's like, okay, the next thing is, oh, you now in my third playthrough, I now already have that item that I struggled for. Now what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what do I need to do?
Well, I had to play this game, like the first hour or so of this game twice, because the first
Yeah.
time I did was on my friend's account. And,
Oh my God,
I
yeah.
couldn't transfer my save. But the second time, I realized that I completely missed like a whole part, the shrine.
Me too.
I
also
just
missed
didn't go to
that.
the shrine.
Yeah.
And then, so in the second time, I went to the shrine. I'm like, oh, this is horrendously sad.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I did this again, because if I didn't, I would have completely missed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so cool.
So much of the game is that. Yeah, so this was something that I was a bit shocked by at first because, again, I'd come off the back of, I'd gone through and I'd played Silent Hill 1 and 2 again before this came out. And I didn't remember it being like so aggressively like enemy-centric so quickly. I realized I just had a bad memory and it was has been like that historically for a bit. I think they do a very good balance of show and tell, and also just leaving you with being like, I have many questions and I'm not going to get answers to them right now.
I mean, that's just what makes... That is something about the Silent Hill series that is, I think, what they hang their hat on. It is that sort of obtuse storytelling vibes.
Yeah.
I can't speak for not having played this yet. I'm really looking forward to playing it.
Please play
But
it,
I
so
do
good.
really feel like this fits this Japanese horror. Like,
Yes.
Japanese horror has, for at least from a Western perspective, has a lot of things that I don't quite understand,
Yeah.
and that the mystery and the sort of... Maybe it's a cultural difference in terms of their... just things that they just accept in their media, but also their storytelling. It's like, that's more natural, but it is also just so obtuse, so eerie, so at arm's length through the
Yeah.
politeness of the characters in a horrific situation. Like, why isn't anyone talking about this? In Silent Hill, it just felt weird. It felt like characters, bad actors in a movie, which was a cool vibe to itself. It felt like everyone just had weird dialogue and was wandering around. Whereas here, I feel like it could take on an even more sinister / kind of like, again, Japanese horror scares the fuck out of me. So that's why I'm really excited to play this.
Yeah.
And I think it'll resonate more with me as a horror fan than your traditional Midwest town.
Japanese horror
Yeah.
is quieter, and I think
Yeah.
that's what makes
So it hits harder when it
scarier.
actually finally does show you something terrifying.
That's why a
it's-
little boy going,
Grudge boy.
It's also like partially, and again, I can't speak to this not being part of the culture, but there's a greater pull to mythology.
I was going to say, there's
Yeah.
tradition and there's stuff in there that
Yeah.
they can draw from that you go, oh my God, that's something from an ancient culture of a screaming lady hanging upside
Yeah.
down off a roof. And you're like, that's eerier than just a designer put it in there because it was a cool look. It's like...
The
they-
writer for this, whose name I'm gonna butcher, I think it's Ryoki Ishii.
Oh, 07?
Yes, Ryoki
Yep.
Ishii 07 was the
Seventh in
writer.
line,
the
too.
seventh in line was the writer of Higurashi When They Cry, which is
Oh,
my
yeah.
all-time goddamn
Good shit.
favorite visual novel and also
fucked up.
TV series.
Right, so
It's
yeah,
so
drawn on that really...
And I didn't know that when I started this. And then I went, God, this feels familiar and uncomfortable. It makes me doubt that my friends actually like me. And then went, oh, I've played this game before.
it's because he's really good at that.
Oh, it's because he loves making me hate my
Yeah.
friends.
I also hope that this series continues down this path of being more anthology-esque in terms of using Silent Hill. Because I feel like, I'm probably getting this wrong, but like that's kind of what Resident Evil did in a way. Yes, there are recurring characters, but they use it as a brand and a motif for different settings and characters each time. Yes, they'll draw that line at the end and be like, it's actually to do with, what's it called, Umbrella or something.
It's always
But
Albert
it's always
Goddamn
such a
Wesker.
different, at least the last two and potentially this third game, and looking at, I love it being an umbrella over the series. And I think Silent Hill is actually, I think it ran its very limited course in those 2 or 3 games. It was a cool concept that probably didn't, the sequel is great, but it was like a stretch to keep that concept running over the same
Yes.
town, the same characters. Whereas I think this is a chance to flex and be like, different areas, different characters, different cultures. It's cool in that vibe.
Yeah.
Silent Hill's had a couple of flops as well. Like
Yeah.
the last decade or more of Silent Hill has been like not well received by fans.
The
Yeah.
remake's good. The
Yeah,
new
remake's
shit.
fabulous.
well,
That's the
like-
remake of 2, isn't it, by Bluepoint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Blooper
like...
Team.
Blooper Team,
Blooper
sorry,
Team.
not Bluepoint.
But oh god, what was
Silent Hill: The Room
Short
is actually a
messages.
fantastic one on Xbox 360. It was a first-person one in a room that
Yeah.
kept looping.
Yeah.
So it worked when they got out of that sort of comfort zone. But
Yeah.
you're right.
Well,
when
that was the first one. That was also the first game to, I believe, the first game to leave Silent Hill.
That's it.
Yeah, that wasn't actually set in the
Evil
town.
Dead.
But we don't know
Silent
where
Hill.
that room was.
That's
it could have
true.
been
Yeah.
anywhere.
I think they do specify it's in. Oh, they do specify it's in a different town.
I was just joking.
What
but-
was the?
Oh,
what
I
was
can't read
was it a live action browser one?
Oh, that thing that
Okay.
it was a timed event, wasn't it?
Yeah,
as
it was
well?
like a
like
timed
last year or
event.
the year before.
That's
It was-
right.
Silent
That was a
Hill.
big swing and a miss, I
It was
think.
Silent
real
Hill.
steep.
And then one was like a mobile. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
That was bad. So this is
I-
a great.
I wanted to love short messages, but it was like that. I will say, if you played short messages and you were like, "Oh, "This is just so aggressively anti-bullying," to the point where I'm like, "I get it." This is very. It's a layered. A layered series of issues that it's looking at.
I think this
within.
one's a lot better written.
It was so much better written. Yeah.
A lot better written.
Can I call in Adele? Can you jump on the mic upstairs,
Calling
Adele?
Adele.
Because
Hi,
you've played a fair bit of this
Adele.
game as well.
Paging
Have you-
Adele.
We had a very big conversation about this, Adele.
Well, Adele's been talking about it in the office,
so
but
good.
but I haven't played any, so she has not been able to engage with me. So you both have played it. What? How
It's
far
a game
through
for
a
girls.
playthrough?
It's a game
Yeah,
for
it's a
girls.
girls
How many
game.
endings have you got, Adele?
I've finished, like, I've done one playthrough, but I have looked up the other kind of endings because I did have to move on to Hades 2.
Fair call. Fair call.
Which it's another thing I could probably talk about.
We're glad
for
one of
ages.
our employees isn't
But
playing it. Yet
we're
5
talking about
times.
Silent Hill. But no, it was yeah, I got to the end of that, and even like I had to look up the other things because I also think I didn't have the patience to go through it all again to find out like the full story because it was so good in just the first playthrough of like the intrigue and the
fair
lore
enough.
and everything like that I was like, I need to know everything about this game right now.
Yes.
It's just, and then I was thinking about it for like, and I'm still thinking about it. Like, there's still things I'll see, and like there was cosplayers at PAX, and I'm like, oh, like,
Oh man, that is one thing I will say. So I went to Tokyo Game Show, and they had the Silent Hill F.
They were
booth
cosplaying
there.
Everett. They were just schoolgirls.
No, they had a booth there.
Yeah.
And it was the most cooked booth. They had this gorgeous like cosplay of one of the characters in their most horrific version of themselves. And then they had, so this isn't a spoiler, it's like in the gameplay trailers. They have, if you're familiar with the nurses from like 2.
Yep. Peter.
Yeah.
You've famously been one
I've
of the
been one of
nurses.
those.
Have you now? Were you
Yeah,
wearing
yeah.
the
He
big
doesn't
shorts?
remember.
He can't remember. He
cut off
bandaged
my
his head too
circulation.
tight. That's
he put
true.
compression
Go
bandages on his
please.
head.
They have
Oh my god, dude,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's too high.
So they have a similar version of that, which is the Scarecrow girls and boys.
Oh my God.
That pivot at an angle and are very
Amazing.
jerky and jarring, and they will jump scare you.
Did you ever have the experience where you were standing in just the wrong place, where they just jerk and then suddenly point at you? But it's
I-
because you have to go back.
Yeah, I could hear the ones. So there's a puzzle. This isn't really a spoiler. There's a puzzle where you have to like navigate them and
Yeah.
try and activate the right one. But there are a couple that are set loose in the field, and you just hear them go, and you're like, where they're coming from?
Is it a distinctly because is it a distinctly Japanese thing? Because I can't remember if I talked about it on the show, but I played a Japanese horror game where I went to a school and there was a ballerina, and it was she would only move when you looked at her when the light was on. And it
Yeah.
was like it was like the scarecrows. It was like this thing. I love that that's something that sort of resonates in this Japanese horror of. It'll move when you don't look at it. It is just by its concept
Yeah.
terrifying. It's been in other games, but they do it well. They do movement of haunted and possessed things. There's just no middle ground. They do sweet, not cute, but like sweet and happy, and then they just go to they ratchet it to 11, and it happens in such a way that just I find it so unsettling, but it's brilliant.
I think like any horror, it's a very broad spectrum of what you find is scary. And I think
Yeah.
what Silent Hill F does really well is it taps into especially like, not to make it a gender thing, a fear for women particularly, and especially of that time period
Yeah.
where
Wait, when is it
marriage,
set?
1960s.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you said that up top. Sorry,
Yeah, 1960s Japan. There is a theme of like ownership and loss of autonomy, and that is deeply terrifying to me, and I imagine many people.
Totally.
But then it also plays on childhood fears because you are dealing with a younger girl. So there's also the fear of things that move in the dark, the fear of things that only move when you don't look at them.
You grow out of
fleshy
being
monsters.
scared of flesh scarecrow people that move. And that's just a childhood
feel to
thing.
grow up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm really scared of my friends not liking me, and also a horrible flesh monster.
I have another question for Adele because you said something the other day. I was like, you have to talk about it on the show. But cut the mics for a second, Josh.
Oh,
Yeah. They're cut.
Hi. It's something that yeah.
yay or nay?
It's
Thumbs up or
hard
down?
to
Mic's
condense
on?
because it's one of those things where it's like I think.
You don't have to condense.
Um,
Adele, come down here.
what?
No,
Come
no,
down
we're
here,
good, we're
replace
good,
me.
we're good. Keep going. She's
No, it's fine. I
she's
can
in a
do it
comfortable
here.
position.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll stay up here. I'm comfy. No, I think it's one of those things where it leads to a broader conversation about kind of gender roles and gender politics, particularly in Japanese culture. And so I don't think necessarily that you can like put that into 5 minutes that we try to do because it is great. But I think for anyone playing it like that, identifies as female or like whatever, that you get so much out of it because it's such an interesting story that there's so many layers to it and there's so much like that it says about the roles that women have in society. And even though it's set in the 1960s, there is still so much that it says about today. And I think that's the most powerful bit about it is that it's like where we're at, where we're now, and this horror setting as well. It's just, it's amazingly told. So-
Obviously, that came across to you and it resonated with you. Do you think the game does a good job of showing those themes to a broader audience outside?
Would
of
Gus get it?
that's? But I was going to say,
Was it made for the white
Will
man?
it teach Gus?
Do you think like that? There's stuff to be.
Can he learn?
Let me try and carry this through. Do you think to a broader audience as well, they do a good job of carrying those themes through, or specifically, do you think it really hones into something that hasn't been touched on in games very well in the past?
I think I'd like to hear like kind of Ruby and Gem's thoughts on it too. I think it's very like the story is always Silent Hill. So ultimately it's like you do have to go a little bit digging for it because it's not at the forefront. It's obviously like a female protagonist and whatnot and kind of what she's going through, but it's not explicitly stated.
Okay.
So I think it's like ultimately you are kind of like playing this story about her and her experience and what all the stuff that's going on with her. But the subtext is the thing that I think when you get into it, you're like, that's the thing that is so compelling.
But the subtext, I don't think, is deeply buried. Like
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not. It's not buried to a point where you're like, oh, I wouldn't have seen this. I think the only reason you not kind of you wouldn't vibe with it is if you're one of those cunts going in like, more like Silent Hill woke. You know, like
Chef for male.
Yeah.
schoolgirls, gotta play this.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Silent Hill and Tifa. Like,
Where-
it's very this like Lego Rec makes good.
Yeah,
The
it's the
subtext
text.
is text.
The
Like,
subtext is text.
Yeah, okay,
So,
cool.
like,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, that's what Handmaid's Tale is. It's very present. That's the conversation. So this is like, a little bit subtext, but very clearly the core message.
I'm so glad it's in there as well
That was my
because
question,
from
obviously.
I didn't know much about this game today, but even when the first branding came out for it being announced, a little part of me saw the like protagonist and the setting and and thought, oh no, have they gone really pulpy with this? Have they made it a real kind of like? I'm so glad it is not that, and that there is a lot more to say, and that time period is such a larger part of it than just like schlocky. In the same way that you could have cheerleaders in a slasher film, you've got schoolgirls in that one. I'm glad it's not that super shallowness to it, and I'm genuinely waiting to sit down and play all this.
It's no Lollipop Chainsaw.
I was going to
No.
go, is American Made
Totally,
Good.
that's
I think the best thing about it, and it's kind of like to encapsulate all of that, is like it is a horror game in which the horror is not just what you see, it's what you don't see, and it is the implications of living in that world.
Yeah.
And it's you're taking parts from psychological horror, you're taking parts from visual horror.
But still
and it's all
some
together.
pretty freaky fucking jump scares. Because like I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I
Couple
love
times.
eerie, unsettling
Yeah.
stays with me. But then I've seen it, I'm like, oh man, that thing gets
Oh,
thrown
yeah.
around a corner.
I
I'm
sure
like,
do love going
Yeah.
into a room that's got blood in it, and then hearing, and then looking, and there's a door open,
Yeah.
and then I go through the door and nothing is there, and then I turn around to go back to the other room, and then that's where the creepy, scary monster.
I'm,
My
that's
favorite
it.
bit-
Smart,
That's good
smart
stuff.
horror is good horror
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
My favorite bit is that you don't even actually, there's nothing actually happens to you in this part at all. It's in the school. Have you been to the school yet?
No.
There's a bit coming up to the school. This isn't a spoiler. And you're just walking, and you have this moment of, wait, what the? And you put the camera up, and there is someone up there that does nothing to you, and then
That's
you walk
it.
away.
That's even worse.
And then they're not there anymore, and you're like, where the? And you'll see them 20 minutes later, but you get to sit in that uncomfortableness for a prolonged period of time.
Like that room you go into where the one of the flesh mannequin creature
Yeah.
ladies is just lying on a bed.
Is that what
Yeah.
that
And
went?
so you
I've been looking for that.
shut your mouth.
Let's
Shut your mouth.
I want
But really quick, I'm not done.
telling
this
us
is this
the
game.
Cool, keep
No, no,
explaining
no,
it.
but
Wait
like,
until Silent Hill M, okay? Then you can have your moment.
exactly.
For you.
Get
But
it now.
like, you go up to it and it does nothing to you.
Yeah, even
Like
worse.
it is the exact same enemy that you've been fighting droves of, and you go up to it in this bed and it does nothing to you. But the moment you
Until-
do something else and then you come back to this room, it is not there
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, fuck
That is
I-
terrifying.
Fuck that.
Whether the last thing that we should, I do love that. Maybe I'm drawing a parallel here, but like I do love the Japanese development team in the same way if you like your Dark Souls or something. It's it's burying some of that lore and like the way I can
Yes.
see just you wanting to scrape back at those layers. It is such a wonderful experience playing a game where you know there's more there and you play and it's great when the game itself at surface level is fun or is engaging.
Yeah.
But then you're like, I need to know more, and you're purposely holding stuff back from me, and not in a way that feels cheap, in a way that feels like I will earn this story, I will earn this.
I
like,
am 3
information.
pages into what's going to be about an 8 or 9 page deep dive, so keep an eye out for that.